Chapter 46, Trick or Treat. August said he wasn't feeling well enough to go trick or treating later in the afternoon, which was sad for him because I know how much he loved to trick or treat, especially after it got dark outside. Even though I was well beyond the trick or treating stage myself, I usually throw on some mask or other to accompany him up and down the blocks, watching him knocking on people's door, giddy with excitement. I knew it was one night a year when he could truly be like every other kid. No one knew he was different under the mask. To August, that must have felt absolutely amazing. At 7 o'clock that night, I knocked on his door. Hey, I said. Hey, he said back. He wasn't using his PlayStation or reading a comic book. He was just in his bed looking at the ceiling. Daisy, as always, was next to him on the bed, her head draped over his legs. The bleeding screen costume was crumpled up on the floor next to the Boba Fett costume. How's your stomach? I asked, sitting next to him on the bed. I'm still nauseous. You sure you're not up for the Halloween parade? Positive. This surprised me. Usually August was such a trooper about his medical issues, whether it was skateboarding a few days after a surgery or sipping food through a straw when his mouth was practically bottled shut. This was a kid who's gotten more shots, taken more medicine, put up with more procedure by the age of 10 than most people would have to put up with in 10 lifetimes, and he was sidelined from a little nausea. You want to tell me what's up? I said, sounding a bit like mom. No. Is it school? Yes. Teachers, homework, friends? He didn't answer. Did someone say something? I asked. People always say something, he answered bitterly. I could tell he was close to crying. Tell me what happened, I said. And he told me what happened. He had overheard some very mean things some boys were saying about him. He didn't care about what the other boys had said, he expected that, but he was hurt when one of the boys was his best friend, Jack Wild. I remembered his mentioning Jack a few couple of times over the past few months. I remembered mom and dad saying he seemed like a really nice kid, saying they were glad August had already made a friend like that. Sometimes kids are stupid, I said softly, holding his hands. I'm sure he didn't mean it. And why would he say it? He's been pretending to be my friend all along. Tushman probably bribed him with good grades or something. I bet you he was like, hey Jack, if you make friends with the freak, you don't have to take any test for this year. You know that's not true. And don't call yourself a freak. Whatever, I wish I'd never gone to school in the first place. But I thought you were liking it. I hate it. He was angry all of a sudden, punching his pillow. I hate it, I hate it, I hate it. He was shrieking at the top of his lungs. I didn't say anything. I didn't know what to say. He was hurt. He was mad. I let him have a few more minutes of his fury. Daisy started licking the tears off his face. Come on, Audrey, I said, patting his back gently. Why don't you put on your Jango Fett costume? It's a Boba Fett costume. Why does everyone mix that up? Boba Fett costume, I said, trying to stay calm. I put my arm around his shoulders. Let's just go to the parade, okay? If I go to the parade, Mom will think I'm feeling better and make me go to school tomorrow. Mom would never make you go to school, I answered. Come on, Archie, let's just go. It will be fun, I promise, and I'll let you have all my candy. He didn't argue. He got out of bed and slowly started pulling on his Boba Fett costume. I helped him adjust the straps and tighten the belt, and by the time he put his helmet on, I could tell he was feeling better.
Chapter 47. Time to think. August blabbed a stomachache the next day, so he couldn't have to go to school. I admit, I felt a little bad for Mom, who was genuinely concerned that he had a stomachache bug. But I had promised August I couldn't tell her about the incident at school. By Sunday, he was determined not to go back to school. What are you planning on telling Mom and Dad? I asked him. Why didn't tell me this? They said I could quit whenever I wanted to. He said this while he was still focused on a comic book he was reading. But you've never been the kind of kid who quits things, I said truthfully. That's not like you. I'm quitting. You're going to have to tell Mom and Dad why. I put it down, pulling the comic book out his hands. So he had to look up at me while we were talking. Then Mom will call the school, and everyone will know about it. Will Jack get in trouble? I would think so. Good. I have to admit, August was surprising me more and more. He pulled another comic book off his shelf and started leafing through it. Augie, I said, are you really going to let a couple of stupid kids keep you from going back to school? I know you've been enjoying it. Don't give them that power over you. Don't give them the satisfaction. They have no idea I even hurt them, he explained. No, but I know. I know, but Via, it's okay. I know what I'm doing. I've made up my mind. But it's crazy, Augie, I said emphatically, pulling the new comic book away from him too. You have to go back to school. Everyone hates school sometimes. I hate school sometimes. I hate my friends sometimes. That's just lie. Augie, you want to be treated normally, right? This is normal. We'll have to go to school sometimes, despite the fact that we have bad days. Okay? Do people go out their way to avoid touching you, Veer? He answered, which left me momentarily without an answer. Yeah, right. That's what I thought. So don't compare your best day at school to mine, okay? Okay, that's fair, I said. But this is not a contest about whose days suck the most. Augie, the point is, we all have to put up with the bad days. Now, unless you want to be treated like a baby the rest of your life, or like a kid with special needs, you just have to suck it up and go. He didn't say anything, but I think the last bit was getting to him. You don't have to say a word to those kids, I continued. August, actually, it's so cool that you know what they said, but they don't know you know what they said. You know? What the heck? You know what I mean. You don't have to talk to them ever again. You don't want to. And they never know why. See? Or you can pretend to be friends with them, but deep down inside, you know you're not. Is that how you are with Miranda? He asked. No, I answered quickly, defensively. I never fake my feelings with Miranda. So why are you saying I should? I'm not. I'm just saying you shouldn't let those jerks get to you. Those little jerks get to you. That's all. Like Miranda got to you? Why do you keep bringing Miranda up? I yelled impatiently. I'm trying to talk to you about your friends. Please keep Maya out of it. You are not even friends with her anymore. What's that have to do with what we're talking about? The way August was looking at me reminded me of a doll face. He was just staring at me blankly, with his half-closed doll eyes. She called the other day, he said finally. What? I was done. And you didn't tell me? She wasn't calling you, he answered, pulling both comic books out of my hands. She was calling me, just to say hi, to see how I was doing. She didn't even know I was going to a real school now. I can't believe you hadn't even told her. She said that the two of you don't hang out as much anymore, but she wanted me to know. She's always loved me like a big sister. Double stunned, flabbergasted. No was forming in my mouth. Why didn't you tell me? I said finally. I know. He shrugged, opening the first comic book again. Well, I'm telling Mom and Dad about Jack will if you stop going to school. I answered. Tushman will probably call you into school and make Jack and those kids apologize to you in front of everyone. And everyone will treat you like a kid who should be going to a school for kids with special needs. Is that what you want? Because that's what's going to happen. Otherwise, just go back to school and act like nothing happened. Or if you want to confront Jack about it, fine. But either way, if you... Fine. He interrupted. What? Fine. You go. He yelled, not loudly. Just stop talking about it already. Can I please read my book now? Fine, I answered, turning to leave his room. I thought of something. Did Myrna say anything else about me? He looked up from the comic book and looked right into my eyes. She said to tell you she misses you. Quote, unquote. I nodded. Thanks, I said casually, too embarrassed to let him see how happy that made me feel.
Chapter 48 Weird Kids. Some kids have actually come out and asked me why I hang out with the freak so much. They are kids that don't even know him well. If they knew him, they wouldn't call him that. Because he's a nice kid, I always answer. And don't call him that. You are a saint, Summer. Simina Chin said to me the other day. I couldn't do what you are doing. It's not a big deal, I answered her truthfully. Did Mr. Trustman ask you to be friends with him? Charlotte Cody asked. No, I'm friends with him because I want to be friends with him, I answered. Who knew that my sitting with August Pullman at lunch would be such a big deal? People acted like it was the strangest thing in the world. It's weird how weird kids can be. I sat with him that first day because I felt sorry for him. That's all. Here he was, this strange-looking kid in a brand-new school. No one was talking to him. Everyone was staring at him. All the girls at my table were whispering about him. He wasn't the only new kid at Beecher Prep, but he was the only one everyone was talking about. Julian had nicknamed him the Zombie Kid, and that's what everyone was calling him. Did you see the Zombie Kid yet? Stuff like that gets around fast, and August knew it. It's hard enough being the new kid even when you have a normal face. Imagine having his face. So I just went over and sat with him. Not a biggie. I wish people would stop trying to turn it into something major. He's just a kid. The weirdest looking kid I have ever seen. Yes, but just a kid.
Chapter 49 The Plague. I do admit August's face takes some getting used to. I've been sitting with him for 2 weeks now, and let's just say he's not the neatest eater in the world. But more than that, he's pretty nice. I should also say that I don't feel sorry for him anymore. That might have been what made me sit down with him the first time, but it's not why I keep sitting down with him. I keep sitting down with him because he's fun. One of the things I'm not loving about this year is how a lot of kids are acting like they're too grown up to play things anymore. All they want to do is hang out and talk at recess. And all they talk about now is who likes who and who is cute and who isn't cute. August doesn't bother about that stuff. He likes to play Foursquare at recess, which I love to play too. It was actually because I was playing Foursquare with August that I found out about the plague. Apparently, this is a game that's been going on since the beginning of the year. Everyone who accidentally touched August has only 30 seconds to wash their hands or find hand sanitizer before they catch the plague. I'm not sure what happens to you if you catch the plague because nobody touched August yet, not directly. How I found out about this is that Maya McCarthy told me that the reason she won't play Foursquare with us at recess is that she doesn't want to catch the plague. I was like, what is the plague? And she told me. I told Maya that I thought it was really dumb, and she agreed, but she still wouldn't touch a bone that August just touched, not if she couldn't help.
Chapter 50 The Halloween Party. I was really excited because I got an invitation to Savannah's Halloween party. Savannah is probably the most popular girl in the school. All the boys like her. All the girls want to be friends with her. She was the first girl in the grade to actually have a boyfriend. It was some kid who goes to MS 281, though she dumped him and started dating Henry Joplin, which makes sense because the two of them totally look like teenagers already. Anyway, even though I'm not in the popular group, I somehow got invited, which is very cool. When I told Savannah I got an invitation and would be going to a party, she was really nice to me, though she made sure to tell me that she didn't invite a lot of people, so I shouldn't go around bragging to anyone that I got invited. Maya didn't get invited, for instance. Savannah also made sure to tell me not to wear a costume. It is good, she told me, because of course I would have worn a costume to a Halloween party. Not the unicorn costume I made for the Halloween parade, but the girl get-up that I had worn to school. But even that was a no-no for Savannah's party. The only negative about my going to Savannah's party was that now I wouldn't be able to go to the parade, and a unicorn costume would be wasted. That was kind of a bummer, but okay. Anyway, the first thing that happened when I got to her party was that Savannah greeted me at the door and asked, "Where's your boyfriend, Summer?" I didn't even know what she was talking about. "I guess he doesn't have to wear a mask at Halloween, right?" she added, and then I knew she was talking about August. "He's not my boyfriend," I said. "I know, I'm just kidding." She kissed my cheek. All the girls in her group kiss each other's cheek now whenever they say hello, and feel my jacket on a coat check in her hallway. Then she took me by the hand down upstairs to a basement, which is where the party was. I didn't see her parents anywhere. There was about 15 kids there. All of them were popular kids from either Savannah's group or Julian's group. I guess they have all kind of merged into one big super group of popular kids. Now that some of them have started dating each other. I didn't even know there were so many couples. I mean, I knew about Savannah and Henry, but Ximena and Miles, and Elise and Momos. Elise practically as flat as I am. Anyway, about 5 minutes after I got there, Henry and Savannah were standing next to me, literally hovering over me. "So we want to know why you hang out with the zombie kid so much," said Henry. "He's not a zombie," I laughed, like they were making a joke. I was smiling but didn't feel like smiling. "You know, Summer," said Savannah, "you would be a lot more popular if you didn't hang out with him so much. I'm going to be completely honest with you. Yuan likes you and he wants to ask you out." "He does? You think he's cute?" Yeah, I guess. Yes, he's cute." "So you have to choose who you want to hang out with," Savannah said. She was talking to me like a big sister would talk to a little sister. "Everyone likes you, Summer. Everyone thinks you are really nice and that you're really, really pretty. You could totally be part of our group if you want to. And believe me, there's a lot of girls in our grade who would love that." I know, I nodded. "Thank you. You're welcome," she answered. "You want me to tell Yulian to come and talk to you?" I looked over to where she was pointing and could see Yulian looking over at us. I actually need to go to the bedroom. Where's that?" I went to where she pointed, sat down on the side of the bathtub, and called Mom and asked her to pick me up. "Is everything okay?" said Mom. Yeah, I just don't want to stay, I said. Mom didn't ask any more questions and said she would be there in 10 minutes. Don't ring the bell, I told her. Just call me when you are assigned. I hung out in the bedroom until Mom called, and then I snuck upstairs without anyone seeing me, got my jacket and went outside. It was only 9:30. The Halloween parade was in full swing down Amford Avenue. Huge crowds everywhere. Everyone were in costume, skeleton, pirates, princesses, vampires, superheroes, but not one unicorn.
Chapter 51, November. The next day at school, I told Savannah I had eaten some really bad Halloween candy and gotten sick, which is why I went home early from her party, and she believed me. There was actually a storm match bug going around, so it was a good lie. I also told her that I had a crush on someone else that wasn't Julian, so she would leave me alone about that, and hopefully spread the word to Julian that I wasn't interested. She, of course, wanted to know who I had a crush on, and I told her it was a secret. August was absent the day after Halloween, and when he came back, I could tell something was up to him. He was acting so weird at lunch. He barely said a word and kept looking down at his food when I talked to him, like he wouldn't look at me in the eye. Finally, I was like, Augie, is everything okay? Are you mad at me or something? No, he said. Sorry you wasn't feeling well on Halloween. I keep looking for Boba Fett in the hallways. Yeah, I was sick. Did you have that storm match bug? Yeah, I guess. He opened a book and started to read, which was kinda rude. I'm so excited about the Egyptian Museum project, I said. And you? He shook his head, his mouth full of food. I actually looked away because between the way he was chewing, which almost seemed like he was being gross on purpose, and the way his eyes were just kind of closed down, and I was getting a really bad vibe from him. What project did you get? I asked. He shrugged, pulled out a little scrap of paper from his jeans pocket, and flicked it across the table to me. Everyone in the grade got assigned an Egyptian artifact to work on for Egyptian Museum Day, which was in December. The teachers wrote all the assignments down on tiny scraps of paper, which they put into a fishbowl, and then all us kids in the grade took turns picking the papers out of the fishbowl in assembly. So I unfolded Augie's little slip of paper. Oh cool, I said, maybe a little overexcited because I was trying to get him psyche it up. You got the step pyramid of Saqqara. I know, he said. I got Anubis, the god of the afterlife. The one with the dog head is actually a jackal head. I corrected him. Hey, you want to start working on our projects together after school? You could come over to my house. He put his sandwich down and leaned back in his chair. I can't even describe the look he was giving me. You know, Summer, he said, you don't have to do this. What are you talking about? You don't have to be friends with me. I know, Mr. Desmond talked to you. I have no idea what you are talking about. You don't have to pretend. Is all I'm saying. I know Mr. Desmond talked to some kids before school started and told them they had to be friends with me. He did not talk to me, August. Yeah, he did. No, he did not. Yeah, he did. No, he didn't. I swear on my life. I put my hands up in the air so he could see I wasn't crossing my fingers. He immediately looked down at my feet. So I shook off my UGES so he could see my toes weren't crossed. You are wearing ties, he said accusingly. You can see my toes are flat, I yelled. Okay, you don't have to scream. I don't like being accused of things, okay? Okay, I'm sorry. You should be. He really didn't talk to you? Argue? Okay, I'm really sorry. I would have stayed mad at him longer, but then he told me about something bad that had happened to him on Halloween, and I couldn't stay mad at him anymore. Basically, he heard Jack bad mouthing him and saying really horrible things behind his back. It kind of explained his attitude, and now I knew why he had been out sick. Promise you wouldn't tell anyone, he said. I won't, I nodded. Promise you won't ever be mean like that to me again? Promise, he said, and we pinkies.
Chapter 51 Warning: This kid is rated R. I had warned Mom about August's face. I had described what he looked like. I did this because I know she's not always so good at faking her feelings. And August was coming over for the first time today. I even sent her a text at work to remind her about it. But I could tell from the expression on her face when she came home after work that I hadn't prepared her enough. She was shocked when she came through the door and saw his face for the first time. Hi Mom, this is August. Can you stay for dinner? I asked quickly. It took a second for my question to even register. Hi Augie, she said. Of course sweetheart, if it's okay with Augie's mother. While Augie called his mother on his cell phone, I whispered to Mom, stop making that weirded out face. She had that look like when she's watching the news and some horrific event has happened. She nodded quickly, like she hadn't realized she was making a face, and was really nice and normal to Augie afterward. After a while, Augie and I got tired of working on our projects and went to hang out in the living room. Augie was looking at the pictures on the mantel and he saw a picture of me and Daddy. Is that your daddy? He said. Yeah, I didn't know you were. What's the word? Biracial. Right, that's the word. Yeah, he looked at the picture again. Are your parents divorced? I've never seen him at drop-off or anything. Oh no, I said. He was a platoon sergeant. He died a few years ago. Wow, I didn't know that. Yeah, I nodded, handing him a picture of my dad in his uniform. Wow, look at all these medals. Yeah, he was pretty awesome. Wow, Summer, I'm sorry. Yeah, it sucks. I really miss him a lot. Yeah, wow, he nodded, handing me back the picture. Have you ever known anyone who died? I asked. Just my grandmother, and I don't really even remember her. That's too bad. Augie nodded. You ever wonder what happens to people when they die? I asked. He shrugged. Not really. I mean, I guess they go to heaven. That's where my grands went. I think about it a lot, I said. I think when people die, their souls go to heaven, but just for a little while. Like, that's where they see their old friends and stuff, and kind of catch up on old times. But then I actually think the souls start thinking about their lives on earth, like if they were good or bad or whatever, and then they get born again as brand new babies in the world. Why would they want to do that? Because then they get another chance to get it right, I answered. Their souls get a chance to have a do-over. He thought of about what I was saying and then nodded, kind of like when you get a makeup test. He said, right. But they don't come back looking the same, he said. I mean, they look completely different when they come back, right? Oh yeah, I answered. Your soul stays the same, but everything else is different. I like that, he said, nodding a lot. I really like that, Summer. That means in my next life I won't be stuck with this fate. He pointed to his face when he said that and batted his eyes, which made me laugh. I guess not, I shrugged. Hey, I might even be handsome, he said, smiling. That would be so awesome, wouldn't it? I could come back and this be good looking dude and be super buff and super tall. I laughed again. He was such a good sport about himself. That's one of the things I like the most about Augie. Hey Augie, can I ask you a question? Yeah, he said, like he knew exactly what I wanted to ask. I hesitated. I've been wanting to ask him this for a while, but I always lost the guts to ask. What? He said. You want to know what's wrong with my face? Yeah, I guess, if it's okay for me to ask. He shrugged. It was so relieved that he didn't seem mad or sad. Yeah, it's no big deal, he said casually. The main thing I have is this thing called mandibulofacial dysostosis, which took me forever to learn how to pronounce, by the way. But I also have this other syndrome thing that I can't even pronounce, and this thing kind of just morphed together into one big super thing, which is so rare that they don't even have a name for it. I mean, I don't want to brag or anything, but I'm actually considered something of a medical wonder, you know. He smiled. That was a joke, he said. You can laugh. I smiled and shook my head. You're funny, Augie, I said. Yes, I am, he said proudly. I am convinced.
Chapter 54 Carvel. I remember seeing him for the first time in front of the Carvel on Amersfoort Avenue when I was about 5 or 6. Me and Veronica, my babysitter, was sitting on the bench outside the store with Jamie, my baby brother, who was sitting in his stroller facing us. I guess I was busy eating my ice cream cone because I didn't even notice the people who sat down next to us. Then, at one point, I turned my head to suck the ice cream out of the bottom of my cone, and that's when I saw him, August. He was sitting right next to me. I know it wasn't cool, but I kind of went when I saw him because I honestly got scared. I thought he was wearing a zombie mask or something. It was the kind of you say when you're watching a scary movie and the bad guy like jump out of the bushes. Anyway, I know it wasn't nice of me to do that, and I thought the kid didn't hear me. I know his sister did. Jack, we have to go, said Veronica. She had gotten up and was turning the stroller around because Jamie, who had obviously just noticed the kid too, was about to say something embarrassing. So I jumped up kind of suddenly, like a bee had landed on me, and followed Veronica as she zoomed away. I could hear the kid's mom saying softly behind us, Okay, guys, I think it's time to go, and I turned around to look at them one more time. The kid was licking his ice cream cone. The mom was picking up his scooter, and the sister was glaring at me like she was going to kill me. I looked away quickly. Veronica, what was wrong with that kid? I whispered. Hush, boy, she said, her voice angry. I love Veronica, but when she got mad, she got mad. Meanwhile, Jamil was practically spilling out his stroller trying to get another look at Veronica push him away. But Veronica, said Jamie. You boys were very nasty, said Veronica as soon as we were farther down the block. Staring like that. I didn't mean to, I said. Veronica, said Jamie. Us living like that. Veronica was muttering. Oh Lord, that poor lady. I tell you boys, every day we should thank the Lord for our blessings, you hear me? Veronica, was it Jamie? Is it Halloween? No, Jamie. Then why was that boy wearing a mask? Veronica didn't answer. Sometimes when she was mad about something, she would do that. He wasn't wearing a mask, I explained to Jamie. Hush, Jack, said Veronica. Why are you so mad, Veronica? I couldn't help asking. I thought this would make her angrier, but actually she shook her head. It was bad how we did that, she said, just getting up like that, like we just seen the devil.
I was scared for what was going to say, you know. I didn't want him to say anything that would hurt that little boy's feeling. But it was very bad, us living like that. The mama knew what was going on. But we didn't mean it, I answered. Jack, sometimes you don't have to mean to hurt someone. Do you understand? That was the first time I ever saw August in the neighborhood, at least that I remember, but I've seen him around ever since then. A couple of times in the playground, a few times in the park. He used to wear an astronaut helmet sometimes, but I always knew it was him underneath the helmet. All the kids in the neighborhood knew it was him. Everyone has seen August at some point or another. We all know his name, though he doesn't know ours. And whenever I've seen him, I try to remember what Veronica said, but it's hard. It's hard not to sneak a second look. It's hard to act normal when you see him.